Hello and welcome to another edition of Another Book Review. This week I'll be reviewing Paul Tremblay's horror movie. I'll talk very briefly about the author, go into a spoiler-free overview of the plot, talk about what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, who I'd recommend the book to, and finish off with what I will be reading for next time. Paul Tremblay is a horror novelist who's been writing for several years now. He's probably best known for a work that became an M. Night Shyamalan movie. His work was originally called The Cabin at the End of the World, and that was made into a movie, I think, with M. Night Shyamalan last year, but it was originally based on his work. This book, horror movie, is his most recent book. He's been nominated for several different Bram Stoker Awards as a well-known horror novelist. This book is about a character who just goes. It's told in the first person by a character who refers to himself as the Thin Kid, and the Thin Kid is a man who was in the 1990s in this horror movie, the titular horror movie, as the Thin Kid who is a something of a slasher role. And the movie was never fully completed due to some on-site mishaps, and has kind of entered into internet lore, a la if, for instance, like the Blair Witch Project or something that was never made but sparks the imagination, and there's almost this cult following around this movie that was never really released. Um, and so he has recently been approached to play the role, reprise the role as a reboot. So someone wants to reboot or remake the movie that was never released, and the book is really him looking back at how this movie came to be originally, the 1990s movie, and how the reboot is put together 30 years later. Um, I'd say it's more like a psychological horror. Paul Tremblay's not really interested in explaining a lot of things in the book, which I thought actually um, propelled it. I thought the first, I'd say 80-90% of the book was really, really well done. The entire book I thought was really, really well written as far as being propulsive and having the sense of um, unease, the sense of tension with who the character is, what's happening with the character, what's going on, the psychological underpinnings. I thought that was really, really well done. The book is a page turner. You do move through it very quickly. I really like the character of the Thin Kid, of this character who kind of is kind of an amateur actor who kind of gets kind of dragged into this movie to play this character, and how it changes him over time and how it kind of continues to change him. Paul Tremblay also does this thing where he writes, most of the book is told in first person through the characters, Thin Kid's recollection of what happened in '93 and also what's going on currently, as the idea of him currently rebooting, remaking, reprising his roles going on. So it's kind of these two timelines. And intercut is the script, the shooting script of the movie itself, and I think that does a really good job of kind of tying the present and the past together, and it does a good job of kind of revealing information to the audience when they need to know it. So I enjoyed all those things. I'd say if I had problems with it is the believability of the script, as far as there's a lot of um, the script has a lot of parts where it goes beyond stage direction, and there's a little bit of breaking the believability that a script would have this much level of detail in it. If you read a script by Quentin Tarantino, there's certainly some backstory information that you may need, but I've never seen a script that was in so detailed as far as character motivation and things like that, and kind of third person explaining the world to the level of detail that the script does. So there's a little bit of, you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit that this would in fact be in the script, but that really wasn't a big issue to me. I liked the side characters of the book. I enjoyed. I thought that the character who's the director, Valentino, was an interesting character, and the character who kind of writes the script, Chloe, is also kind of an interesting character. And those characters also are in the movie, so in the '93 movie, and so you have the director Valentina, who's in the movie, and then you have the director Chloe, who's also a character in the movie, who writes the script. I thought those were interesting characters. Um, and I think it was just kind of a very propulsive read. If there are things that the things that I didn't like about it, it felt like the book is going and the book is going and the book is going. You're kind of waiting for some mysteries to be revealed, and it didn't feel like the ending of the book really connected to the first 80 or 90% of it. And I did, that was really to me the biggest issue. There's also some parts that I found to be confusing. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know if I can go into too much without spoiling it. There's some parts of it that I thought were confusing as far as um, elements. I'll just, I guess, to put it vaguely, elements that are in the movie where the 93 movie is never released. There's this lore of the movie, and so people begin to question the thin kid of what was real and what was special effects of the movie. And so there is a whole series, not to go into those specifics, but that whole thing, one of the examples of that, I found to be more confusing than it needed to be. So at the end of the day, I'm still a little confused about exactly what happened there and why the decision that Paul Tremblay made in this novel to have that point of confusion didn't really make any sense to me. I didn't really understand what was added. It was a cool idea. I think the best thing about the book was the idea was really cool, and it was very very well paced. And he is able to draw you into this world and these characters, and I thought that was really well done. I think the ending, the biggest disappointment to me was the ending to kind of tie everything together, and you're kind of waiting for it to tie together, have a deeper meaning, and it doesn't seem to do that at the end. And so I was a little bit disappointed with that. I was expecting a little bit more there. Um, but I would be interested to see what else he has written. If there's maybe a stronger thing that he has come out with, I'd be interested in reading that. I saw that he's written with Stephen Graham Jones in the past. They've written stuff together. If you're a fan of Joe Hill, that was the writer to me of kind of this Gen X horror writer, kind of writing in the same vein. Um, but yeah, that was the issue with it. I found it to be very propulsive. I thought sentence to sentence was really well done. I think the concept was really cool. It was just really, to me, the ending, the stuff with the script. There's some other bits and bobs here and there that I didn't really. They're kind of thrown out there, but I didn't understand the reason for them. Um, and I was waiting for it to maybe gel a little bit more than it did. So there's some disparate ideas that didn't fully gel. But if you're someone who likes horror novels and are more of a journey and less of a destination person, then you may enjoy this. The concept I thought was really cool. It has a kind of an eerie sense of it too. I don't know if I've really read something like that. I guess I would. There's some elements of you can consider self harm. So if that's something that you want to stay away from, maybe stay away from this. But otherwise, if you want something that's a kind of more of a psychological horror, I thought it was really well done. I think there. I wish there had been a little bit more there. I wish there had been maybe deeper reasons for things. But otherwise, I definitely enjoyed it while I was reading. I was a little disappointed by the ending. But if you're someone who doesn't care that much about endings, maybe I would suggest checking it out. The next two books that I'm going to be reading are books that I found on the New York Times. Scratch that. I think it was NPR best of list. There's like 350 books. So I'm trying to go through those and select a few to read for the end of the year here. I'll leave my link below to Cahokia Jazz, which is a book that was on that list that I reviewed earlier in the year. So if you want to check that out, you can. And another book that was on the list that I'll be reading for next time was Blood Test by Charles Baxter. And until next time, please, if you've enjoyed this, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.